Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Crossover here on the THM McFly Podcast channel, a new segment dedicating to comic books. I don't read a lot of comic books, I did when I was a kid, but I'm starting to get into it as an adult, and I have so many questions about where to start, and we have our THM McFly in-house comic book aficionados, Jose Ramos.
That's me.
And Michael Mini Candelet.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I love that we do this segment. It's always fun. It's always fun to get back into comic books. And I always tell you guys I want to get back in. I just don't know where to start. And you guys, since we started doing these, you guys said, oh, we got to do The White Knight. So tell me, why do you guys want to do this comic book series, The White Knight?
I mean, with me personally, I always enjoy a good what-if story.
Yeah.
So I like the continuity as it goes regularly, but when you get a side story where an artist is allowed to be themselves without restrictions,
Yeah.
and it's like, what if this happened? I enjoy those stories, and that's what White Knight is.
Yeah, and for those of you who are listening and you don't know what White Knight is, it's a Batman story.
Oh yes,
Yeah, it's a
Batman Joker story.
It's a Batman Joker story. And Minnie, you suggested that we did this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Why was it important to you?
It's just an amazing story. It's retroactively turned into a Black Label, which is one of DC's new projects that we'll talk about a little bit later. But it's its own individual story. All you really need to know is just a quick basis of the characters in there, like Joker and Batman fight each other. Joker's obsessed with Batman, things like that. And then from there, it's on its own. You don't have to worry about any 85 plus year history of them because it's its own story. It's its own telling of it.
That's what I do like about comic books. I mean, there is a lot of storylines for everything out there, but a lot of them are their own worlds, even though it's like Batman. You just don't know where to start from Batman. Well, what kind of Batman experience do you want? You don't have to follow a lot of all these, storylines and continuity. There's always like different takes, and that's its own separate story that doesn't rely on the continuity of anything else. And that's why I really like comic books, and I'm kind of liking a lot of comic book movies being rebooted, and that's why I feel like it's okay to do that, because hey, I always like seeing different interpretations of these characters, and you guys made me cram all 8 issues, right? I did that right before here, and I was really digging it. So what do you say we just hit the music and see what happens?
Let's do it.
All right, The White Knight. So funny when you suggested this to me, Jose. I'm like, is this about Ellis from Die Hard? It's like, Hans, Booby, I'm your White Knight. Whenever I hear White Knight, that's exactly what I think about, is that line of dialogue in Die Hard.
You were close.
I was close. All right, so take us away. Talk to me about The White Knight. Who wrote it and all that good stuff.
Well, the writer and the illustrator, he did both, is Sean Murphy.
Okay.
He's worked with Dark Horse, with Vertigo, and with Image and DC.
And these are different comic book labels.
Exactly, different comic book labels. So he's worked with them. This is a DC project, of course, because it is Batman. Some of his past projects that he's done Hellblazer, which is Constantine.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's done Hellblazer. He did a Batman a long time ago. It was a mini series called Batman Scarecrow Year 1. And then something which I haven't read many. Have you, Joe the Barbarian? But I guess that was popular.
No, I haven't read that one.
He worked on that. I forget who he worked with, but it was a very another popular writer. So some of his past projects, maybe if you want to get into some of his upcoming stuff.
The only thing that I found upcoming is he's working. They're not quite sure. It's coming out sometime this year. It's either a White Knight sequel or an Azrael story. They haven't really announced that, but Azrael is definitely going to be involved somehow.
That I actually have more information on.
All right.
It is called Batman: Curse of the White Knight, and it is a sequel to the White Knight, which we're going to be talking about today, and it comes out July 24th.
Okay, because that's what you were telling me. You're like White Knight because the sequel of it comes out next month.
A couple months, yeah.
Oh, is that
'Cause July.
Okay, July. I always get June and July mixed up. They're just one long J month for me.
What's good, and it's still not concrete, but Curse of the White Knight that's coming out is kind of the first step towards that. The White Knight did so well, and it was so popular, and it did well critically, that they were talking about creating the Murphyverse, which is basically his own universe set within the White Knight world, where he can play with all the characters, create his own stories that have nothing to do with the rest of DC continuity. And he actually talked about it himself, and he says that he would love to, and he set rules for himself if he was going to create the Murphyverse. So his rules were whatever is dead stays dead, no bringing people back to life. Which you always get in comics.
I like that.
Yeah, another one is limited amount of covers, so the people that are buying it don't have to worry about 5-6 different covers for one issue.
Yeah, because with White Knight was only a max 3 different covers.
Yeah, so he wanted to limit it. Also, he promised no delays.
Okay.
So when he puts out a series, it will come out exactly when it goes through. And also to make it easier for readers, he promised no tie-ins and no events where readers have to read like 6 different types of comics just to keep up.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no,
It's always good reading comics. But I get what you mean. It's like the no bullshit. It's just like, you just follow this.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, one of the problems I have sometimes keeping up with Marvel over the last few years is when they do these events, you have like your main 6 issues for the story, but then you have like 37 like side tie-ins where it's just like, where do I even go with this?
Well, that was like some of my issues with staying up to date by watching like some of those DC TV shows is when they would cross over, like Supergirl. I remember when they were doing Supergirl, I'm like, I want to watch Supergirl, but then all of a sudden I saw that it was going to be tying in with the Flash. I'm like, oh, I haven't watched Flash yet. I'm like, oh, I don't. Which one should I start with? Come on, I don't. I just want to follow one for right now.
So that's what he wants to avoid with his universe.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I've never thought about somebody, and especially in comic books, like creating their own universe, especially when it comes to a property that's already owned by another company. But creating your own universe and your own rules and that it's just like really engaging. And I think it's more okay for comic book readers to accept that than movie audiences to accept seeing a different take on something.
And I think, I mean, this is just my theory that part of the reason why they are more willing to allow that is because we had that happen recently with the Injustice, Gods Among Us video game and the comic book. That was his own world. It had nothing to do with continuity, and it did so well that I think they're more open-minded to it.
Yeah, and DC's big thing has always been their Elseworld stories. That's what really sets them apart from Marvel. Is they have, Marvel has theirs. They had their Ultimate Universe for a while, but it still followed its own little continuity. Whereas DC's big in these one-off miniseries that are their own contained thing.
Yeah.
Every now and then, like there was Gotham by Gaslight, which is brought everything to the late 1800s, where Batman's going after the Jack the Ripper.
Okay, that's cool. See, I like seeing shit like that.
Yeah,
that's like just cool concepts.
They do a lot of their own little, like, this is its own little contained story, and we're only doing it for 6 to 12 issues, and then it's gone.
Because everybody gets their cake and gets to eat it too.
Yeah.
So let's start talking about the White Knight, the actual story details. You guys didn't give me too much information. You just said, "Here's the comic books, just read it." And you know what? Just in the opening pages, I thought this was awesome because it opens up on a chase with the Joker being chased by Batman, Nightwing, and Batgirl. And my favorite thing was like how the Joker was narrating it. You know what I mean?
Well, that wasn't how it opened up. It originally opened up when the Batmobile.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
but I was talking about
Batmobile going over to Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
You think Batman's going in to check on the Joker, but the rules get reversed.
Yeah.
Joker was actually driving the Batmobile, and they went to go see Batman locked up in Arkham.
That's right. But did we see that it wasn't the Joker, it was Napier?
It was Jack Napier.
But did they reveal that in that opening scene? I forget.
In the opening scene, no. It was you kind of like he has the look of it, but he's a fully reformed Joker at this point, going by Jack Napier.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like when he walked into the argument, was he just like, I'm Napier? I forget if it was revealed that was who that character was when he walked in.
There was the dialogue, I believe. Batman called him the Joker, and then he responded, "I'm call me Mr. Napier" or something like
It was
that.
kind of crazy seeing Batman chained up in Arkham Asylum, and like they still let him have his bat suit on. Like it's just like okay, but it was cool. And then it just goes to like 1 year earlier,
Yeah.
and it's just like okay, and you get to see how this happened. And that's when we got into the chase with the Joker, Batman, Nightwing, and Batgirl, which it was just really cool. Just seeing the Joker narrate like almost like their history together, like what they mean to each other as Batman and the Joker, and just the way that the Joker was using terms in stand-up comedy. Because I used to do a lot of stand-up comedy a while ago, and he's just like, all right, now time to do some crowd work and get the audience involved. And he was using like like the construction crew, trying to help get away and getting them involved and throwing them in Batman's way and stuff. And it was just really interesting just to see how that played out. And it goes all the way to where was the Joker running to?
He was going to a pharmaceutical building.
That's what it was. It was a pharmaceutical, but it was a closed one, right? Wasn't it a shut down one? And they still had pills inside, a whole bunch of pills inside.
So this whole time, Batman is chasing them quite recklessly.
Yeah.
He's tearing like roofs off buildings.
Yes,
he's
that's
just
right.
causing all this damage as he's chasing the Joker down.
Yeah.
And gets to this pharmaceutical building.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's where he's trying to. He finally gets the one up on the Joker, and he has him, and you see that he's reaching for the pills, and he's explaining like how he never wanted to actually kill you. I mean, it's kind of like how we saw in the Dark Knight with the movie, you know, with the Joker and Batman. It's like, I don't want to kill you, you know, like we need each other.
Yeah.
I want you to be great because I just want to keep playing this game, you know. And it was just really cool to see that.
Yeah, it's that yin yang speech.
Yeah,
that
that
he
classic.
gives him.
Yeah, but it was done so well, even though it was something that you've heard before in the movies. It's just to hear this explanation of how it worked out was like it was really cool. And then it just ended with Batman shoving those pills down the Joker's throat while everybody is watching. Like the police are there and somebody's like recording it.
Yeah, he beats the crap out of him, and with Napier saying that like the pills would make him better, he shoves them down his throat. He's like, "We'll see."
Yeah, to the point where he wasn't breathing, and they needed to revive him.
That's fucking crazy. And so then it starts, you know, being brought to the attention of Gotham City that Batman's kind of a dick. You know what I mean? Like, they start to pay Batman as a bad guy because they showed when he was chasing the Joker earlier, you saw him running over the roofs of Gotham City, and then they were explaining on the news that people were seriously injured doing that.
Yeah,
And they created, there was you see the news outlets and you see everyone split 50-50. You got the people saying, Batman's a menace. He shouldn't have done that to the Joker. Joker's still human, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you had the other side saying, like, after everything the Joker's done, that he deserves that.
Yeah.
So you have both sides fighting on that.
Yeah, and it starts getting into the realm of politics a lot, and especially with like how today's going, like in our current modern politics. Even though I like to escape that in comic books, we're kind of getting in this, and they actually did it kind of right, you know, like you understood both sides where they were coming from, and and then it starts to show like the Joker, he's in Arkham, and and you see him start to get better. You know, and that's what's just like kind of cool. And his backstory, how like he just wanted to make the world laugh because he grew up on a farm. And this is where sometimes you guys say that you don't like when the Joker has given a backstory, like his origin. Sometimes it's just a lot better when you don't know who he is. He's more of an idea than an actual person with a background. And it was I like the background that they did on this, and it kind of feels like that's what it's gonna be in the new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
with Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, Arthur Fleck. He wanted to be a comic, a comedian, and he came out here and he realized that nobody thought he was funny, and he just didn't like.
Yeah, I mean, most of the Joker origins that have been out there have him as a failed stand-up comic, and he's just trying to make money somehow. This one just happened to kind of go with he wanted to start emulating Batman, and he had a psychotic break, and that's how he became the Joker. And then you have like the Red Hood storyline or the Killing Joke where he was a down on his luck comedian and he wasn't making money, so he fell in line with a gang. Like, we need you to be the symbol, and you'll get paid well, and you never have to do it again. And it just happened to get busted by Batman and fall into a vat of acid and became the Joker. But it's always typically him being a failed stand-up entertainer.
That's why I was always worried about comics I never saw again. I'm like, what are they doing?
Are they
Where
the next Joker?
Are they the next Joker?
No, but it was cool because it turns out inadvertently, Batman actually cures the Joker of his insanity with those pills. They actually end up working. And all of a sudden, like, it suppresses the Joker and the impulsiveness and the need for chaos and all of that. And that's when we get Jack Napier, which is his regular persona, not the Joker. So he comes out of that, and then this is where things start getting interesting, because Jack Napier is very intelligent, and he starts combating Batman, basically using the legal system and GCPD, where he's able to turn everything on them. That chase that we see at the beginning, he tells him, he's like, I never hurt anybody. I never killed anyone.
Yeah.
Why am I arrested? Batman did all the damage. He hurt the people.
Yeah.
Look at the video. I never did anything. And they were right. There was not enough evidence that he actually did something, so they're forced to set him free.
But he is the Joker. You know what I mean? Like, I get what they were trying to do, but like at the same time, I'm like, he is the Joker. He did something fucked up to get Batman to chase him.
Oh, yeah, but his whole thing was, the only thing you've ever been able to pin me on is robberies, armed robberies.
Yeah.
You can't pin any murders on me.
Yeah.
Any public destruction, like the severe things. It was like, you can never get any evidence on me to do that. All you have on me is robberies.
Yeah.
And does that warrant Batman beating the shit out of me?
And destroying half the city trying to get to
Yeah.
do that.
And what he does also is that, a lot of people don't like authority.
Yeah.
So he uses that mentality against them people, and he spins the story where he creates a storyline where the GCPD is using this criminal to gain more, all the criminals to gain more funding. That they created the super criminal.
Yeah.
That he was arrested for just regular small stuff, and in Arkham Asylum he was turned into the Joker. And anytime they wanted funding or people were asking too many questions, they would let him go to create chaos. And that's what
It's like a false flag event.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he spun it that way, where people all of a sudden started turning against the GCPD, which helped him in the court case that he won.
That's it. That's crazy because, like, when you're listening to the Joker's plan, you think it's just an evil, sadistic thing, and he's just like how politicians really are. They're pretending to be a good guy, but really they have an evil plan. But this one, they did a really good job on showing that Napier wasn't a farce. Like, he was trying to expose corruption, and you could see that he actually wanted to be good. He loved the city, and he wanted to make sure that he shows the bullshit behind everything.
Yeah, and it was shown or said multiple times in there that Joker and Batman are the same. They want the best for Gotham.
Yeah.
They just have different ways of going about it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he ends up, not only just GCPD, but again, just through his words and his intelligence, he starts slowly turning people against Batman. He creates this image that Batman attacks the poor to defend the rich, because most of these criminals, all these crimes are happening in the poor sections.
Yeah, they were using that. They were talking about that. It was real estate agents were doing that. They were finding out what were Batman zones, and when it would go down, like the property value would go down, they just buy it all up. And like they were using, it was fucking crazy thinking about that. It was things that you wouldn't think about that were introduced into this one secluded its own story, and you get to see these cool ideas.
Yeah, because even in that beginning scene, those buildings that he destroyed, running through the roof of them, those will be the buildings these rich people will come and then they'll buy off.
Yeah.
In there and sell it for more.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
So Batman was
And
helping
it's not
them.
just like that, but it was actual zones that the police department zoned as Batman zones. Like these are you're gonna lose a lot of money because there's a lot of crime in here. And it was kind of cool because you always see that in the movies. You always see Batman take down fucking 3 building sides and just crash into so many cars just trying to stop a bad guy. Just like, look at all this damage that he caused. What is the result of that? And they address that a lot in this comic. And that's what I was like, oh, that's a pretty good way to fight Batman, you know?
And that's because his identity isn't revealed because Bruce Wayne he fixes a lot of the things that he breaks as Batman. But with them not knowing it's Bruce Wayne, it just looks like Batman's just destroying shit. And people have to cover it.
Yeah, that's right. That's fucking crazy.
But it's good because this argument works for him. And not only does he get set free and win his court case, but he gets a settlement for pretty much the damage because he convinces them that the GCPD and all of them, they turned him into this.
Yeah.
And he ends up winning his court case and he gets a settlement.
And it's kind of cool because it reminds me of a point they made in one of the worst Avengers movies, Avengers Age of Ultron, is when Vision was talking about, well, I mean, look at it like this. If you're super powered and you build yourself super powered stuff, bad guys are going to try and match that. So just your very being is going to create the very opposite of that. And that's what this reminded me of when they were explaining that. They're like, you're also creating super villains because you're super yourself and you're trying to, take down crime. And so they have to rise up to match what you're doing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So after he gets a settlement, he goes back and he sees his Harley.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like, which is the Harley that we're used to in like now the new 52 and the Suicide Squad Harley,
Yeah.
the newer Harley,
The Margot Robbie Harley.
Pretty much, yeah. And we get in there, and things got a little interesting.
Yeah.
And I admit it, when I read it the first time, I kind of fanboyed out. I was like, "Oh my god!" And you had a reaction to it, Kevin, when you read it. You were like, "Wait, what is going on here?"
Yeah, because what are you talking about? The double?
Yeah, because he goes back to Harley, and Harley isn't too happy about Jack Napier and a sane Joker.
Yeah, she wasn't happy, but then there was 2 Harleys, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is this? That's what it is with comic books. It's like when you're reading it, you're just like, whoa, what am I missing here? You have to go back and read it, then you realize the answer is in like fucking 2 issues from now. It's just like, why are there 2 Harley Quinns? I don't get it.
This one actually did a really good job. As soon as he sees the other Harley, she ends up gave a short explanation. It was like, well, because you were too damn narcissistic to see anyone else as that, so you just started calling somebody else Harley.
Yeah.
When I left, like you never realized that I was gone because you were so self-absorbed.
Yeah.
Which was a really, really good explanation of why there's 2 different looking Harleys right there.
But I mean, it's interesting. Like if you think of the psychology of that.
Yeah.
So like she left because he was going too far, and she just couldn't do it anymore.
And that was with Jason Todd, right? Because
Yes.
the whole thing, that's why Batman's so pissed off, because in the other comic books, Jason Todd was killed by Batman. I mean, by the Joker, right?
Yep.
But this one, they didn't reveal if
he
he was
was
killed or not.
also-
They just want to know what happened to him.
Yeah, he was also the 2nd or 3rd Robin.
In this one,
But in regular continuity, he
second
was
in
the
real
second
one.
Robin. In this one, he was the first.
Yeah,
Robin.
he was the first
the
Robin,
original
and then
Robin.
Dick Grayson came on as the second one.
Yeah, so that the Jason Todd thing, and this it kind of follows the Death in the Family story. He had him chained up. He was beating him with a crowbar and all of that. That was kind of the last straw for her because it continued his obsession with Batman. She explains there that he became so obsessed with Batman that she slowly was falling into the background.
Yeah.
He wasn't paying much attention to
Like
her.
like every pissed off girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much.
She wanted to destroy his PlayStation.
Yeah. And this was the last straw.
Yeah.
The fact that he was going to kill him, and the reason he was going to kill him.
Because he just wanted to know who Batman was because he wasn't paying attention to him.
Well, that, and also because he was jealous of
Yeah.
Jason Todd because he was close to Batman.
Yeah, he was closer than the Joker was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a jealousy thing.
But that's what stopped Harley. That's what turned her against the Joker.
Yeah, that's what made Harley go to Batman.
Yeah, because
To
she.
tell
Yeah, that's
him
right.
where Robin was.
I always find it interesting when the villains and the heroes kind of meet up for some type of mutual benefit. You know what I mean? And they still keep their lines there, but it's always interesting to see those type of characters work together a little bit.
But it was what I was saying. What was interesting is that so like the psychology of it is so this Harley leaves, and then he just starts calling someone else Harley and gives her the clothes and just puts her in the same position. So it's like there's an aspect of him, even as a Joker, where he needed a Harley.
Yeah.
Like he needed Harley.
Very
in there.
narcissistic. Like
Yeah.
he could just control people and be like, yeah, I don't have that person. They turned against me, so you're that new person, and I'm so sick and twisted, and you're sick and twisted because she was cutting herself at work.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Like they were robbing a bank, but she was cutting herself to see how long she could like bleed out until the customers noticed, and that's when the Joker showed up with a gun in her face, like I'm gonna rob. And like it was kind of cool, and she just accepted that. She's like, he thought I was Harley, and I just went along with it.
Yeah.
It's just like it was really dove into the mental instability of people, mental illness. It's kind of crazy.
And that ends up driving her for the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Is she wants that Joker. So you have one Harley that wants Jack Napier.
Yeah.
Because she fell in love with the man, not the Joker. And the man that she always felt was in there. And then you have new Harley, who just loves the chaos of the Joker.
Yeah, it's just the polar opposite. It's almost like the bipolar Harley Quinn, but she's actually literally split into two people, two different separate things. But anyway, to keep this going, it's Jack Napier, who was the Joker, and he's just the sane version of the Joker.
And so one of the things that Sean did was he took elements of all of his favorite Batman stories. Jack Napier is Jack Nicholson's Joker from Batman Returns. Then you see like the Tumbler, you see the '66 Batmobile. Like he took a lot of elements and storylines from other elements of Batman through the years. There was one with Harley Quinn that because I'm rewatching the animated series right now. I just finished that episode that they referenced in there. She just got on parole. And he spent the entire day walking, like kind of following Harley around to make sure that she doesn't mess it up. And he ended up buying her a dress. And they ended up referencing that through this entire thing, that episode.
That's cool.
Yeah. Little Easter eggs.
Little Easter eggs. But anyway, so Napier, it's now revealed that he's trying to be a politician. That's how he's trying to defeat not just Batman, but just save the city, because it's not really even his goal to beat Batman. He just wants corruption in the city to stop and people to be a good city. And so he's running for Congress. Is it
Councilman?
Yeah, councilman. And he has some plans. He's going to the bad neighborhoods. What was it called? What was it?
Backport.
Backport.
Yeah, Backport. And what he does is he takes some of the settlement that he got from his court case, and he says, I'm going to build a library in Backport, in the poor area.
Yeah, he's building a library. And then you start to see him kind of do some bad stuff when he gets Clayface, and this is the stuff that I didn't really understand that much. You guys had to explain it to me a little bit, but he's using the Mad Hatter, which is not a villain that I really knew anything about. So when they were introducing that he has like a mind control headband and he uses cards to do it, I was just like, what? I'm like, okay, trying to figure this out. But he's trying to control all the supervillains, and get them to destroy the library, right?
Get them to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically it's a plan as a destruction to create chaos and destruction and the distraction.
So everyone get access to something.
Exactly. So everyone's eyes is in the library. He knows Batman's going to show up, and he knows that damage will happen. Most likely the library will be destroyed. So it creates a distraction, allowing him to go in and steal some records from City Hall. But it also makes Batman look bad.
Yeah.
On top of that. So it's a win-win for him.
Yeah.
So he ends up stealing these records, and these records further damn the GCPD and Batman in people's eyes. Because that's when he lets everyone know that there's basically a Batman damage fund.
Yeah. Well, and some of that too is, I mean, like proving that, and I think that they talked about that's how he was also able to get off his court case and get out, is that Batman and the police department are working together, even though that they say they're not working together. And and Napier's like, I can prove it because you have a bat signal on top of your fucking building.
Yeah.
So you're in cahoots with Batman, and look at and so they had to let him out. But then he had to find those records, and it was saying that there was like $3 billion a year the city's spending on repairing Batman shit.
Yeah, that he turned into, like, you don't have any natural disasters. It's built as a natural disaster fund, and you, the taxpayer, are paying for it.
Yeah.
You're paying for Batman to destroy your city to rebuild it.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. That was a genius move, you know? I mean, he had to do it to show. I mean, it wasn't like he was trying to take over the city. He was just trying to find the dirt. That's all it was.
And that's him, you know, basically it was like a chess game for him.
He was WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
He was
Exactly.
WikiLeaks.
He was the Julian Assange.
He revealed that, and he was able to perfectly, estimate what Batman was going to do.
Yeah.
And be 2 moves ahead of him. And Batman played right into his hand. Library got destroyed.
Yeah.
And it looked like, and since he put the money to the library, and his library got destroyed, it disassociated the Joker from the incident.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, he's not involved with these bad guys. The bad guys attacked Joker's place, his library.
And also, that's right. But if, Batman destroys the library, guess who pays for it to get rebuilt? Is the city, That's what was kind of like genius at the same time. What else was I going to say about that? Keep going.
Well, one thing that came from this is to stop the bad guys, the library ended up collapsing and ended up badly hurting Batman.
That's
and
right.
what we didn't mention from earlier is we find out Batman's mindset is a little affected at the moment because Alfred is dying.
Yeah.
And the only thing keeping him alive is Bruce Wayne is working with Mr. Freeze.
Using one of the worst Batman movies ever made as almost like inspiration. Although it's probably from the comics too, but with all that stuff was just making me think of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So he's using his technology to keep Alfred alive. So that's kind of affecting, because that's like his father.
Yeah.
It's basically his father figure that, he grew up with. So now he's badly hurt. He goes to Alfred. He ends up pretty much collapsing or passing out. Then he wakes up and he's in the bed. Alfred is sitting in the chair. So Alfred, still caring for him, put him in the machine to heal and sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
So he wakes up to dead Alfred.
See,
next
I
door.
didn't catch that until they explained it at the end, and that was like one of those mind fucks. Like, oh shit, god damn it, that's why Batman's so angry.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's he knows that there's some type of evil plan behind Napier when really there wasn't. He just didn't like how he himself was treated, because I mean how he was behaving, because Nightwing and Batgirl are sick of Batman shit at this point. They're seeing that he's just angry and he's doing this shit where it's like he's hurting people trying to stop the Joker.
Yeah,
And
they're witnessing him spiral.
yeah. And something cool to battle this is like what the Joker's plan, Napier's plan was when he was in the bad neighborhood. What was it called again?
Backport.
And he's meeting with like the local gangs and the guy who's in charge of all the local gangs. Duke. Yeah, they all basically came together to stop the supervillains, and so they would like basically, what better way to embarrass the police department by doing their job for them. So these gangs, I mean, just basically taking care of their own neighborhood because the police aren't there, and that's how Napier was able to go campaign with them to try and get into office. And what they have is like, it was really cool, since there's no cops in that part of town. Like, these gangs have this warehouse where they're basically training people to be fucking vigilantes. And Napier knew this, and he went, and like, this is part of his plan, is to use the fucking Batman money, the government Batman money, and instead spend it on the city, training police officers and vigilantes together as their own task force, which was fucking brilliant.
Which was cool. And when he does go to Backport, there is they're doing basically a protest, a nice good protest, no violence or anything. And Batman, in his angry state,
Oh my god! I remember reading this.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck are you
ends
doing,
up showing
Batman?
up
At a protest and beating the shit out of people.
Yeah, and tries to forcefully take Napier in because he knows Napier was behind everything that happened with the villains. Like, he
Yeah.
knows it.
Yeah.
And he does that in front of everyone, making him
Yeah.
look
Look
worse.
yeah.
And then to top it off, Napier says, like, I don't want any violence. I will go voluntarily.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this to turn anything. So now he looks even better
Yeah.
in everyone's eyes.
And then you had Batman and I can't remember who the other one was. I want to say it was Harley when he says, "You can take me in. I'll go with you." Like, what?
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
I think because Harley was with him.
Yeah.
She's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, hey, I gotta show people like I really do care about the city. You know, it's almost like that Man of Steel moment. It's like I must surrender myself to the city.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets into the part you were talking about. So when he's in the GCPD, Gordon is the only one on the fence right now. Everyone's pretty much turned against Batman.
Yeah.
And Gordon's still loyal on the fence. And this is where Napier offers him a deal. He was like, look, that money that you're using to fix everything Batman's broken, that money, if I become councilman, that money is going to you. And Gordon's like, I'm not taking bribes. Like, it's not a bribe. It should go, you guys should have the resources.
Yeah.
Like, if Batman was, and this is where that line goes, like, if Batman was really a hero and cared about this city,
You'd share the
he would
technology.
share his resources.
Yeah.
You think that suit he wears would not have saved a bunch of cops' lives?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and you start thinking, you're like, oh, well, it is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's fucking crazy.
and that's how he gets Gordon on his side, and Gordon accepts it, and then they convince Nightwing and Batgirl, who are also have had enough of Batman,
Yeah.
and they try to convince Batman. Then we know Batman's answer to that.
But it was just cool just to see like just that whole concept of now you know what Gotham PD is also doing their own task force where they're training vigilantes like Batman. It was cool to see that because I never would have thought something like that would happen in a Batman world, you know, because they just grew so tired of Batman shit that they created a force of their own Batmen. But even though they weren't Batman, they were just cops like vigilantes with masks, but they made their own Batmobiles. Souped up all the cars, and they had them training in the basements and stuff. It was kind of cool, man. I like that.
And what was cool about that is, like, in the background, while all this is happening, this battle between them, we have Neo Joker, which is what the
Harley number 2.
Harley number 2 became Neo Joker. So she
Yeah.
was like, if you took the Joker, I'm going to be the Joker. And her goal is...
That's how she's gonna draw the Joker out because he doesn't want to be like second. He like she's playing with his ego.
Exactly. That's how she's going to force the Joker out, by taking over the city. So in the background, she actually figures out what Napier did with the Mad Hatter and all the rogues. And basically, she takes over. So now she has control over all the rogues. She gets the Mad Hatter
Yeah, that's right.
in this. So that's happening in the background. So this is where a lot of it all comes to the forefront. So now you have the vigilante group that was funded by Napier. Batman refused to go. Nightwing and Batgirl are there. And you see the first attack from Neo Joker and all the rogues. And the vigilantes, they're handling it perfectly. They're slowly taking them out. And it's like,
Keeping
whoa.
them separated.
I'm like, oh, they're good. Like, this is going to work. They're about to end it. Batman comes in.
Yeah. Well, it's also because like Neo Joker, the second Harley, she breaks into Bruce Wayne's mansion because she's trying to get. I figured how they figured it out, but Batman's dad, Thomas Wayne, was working with Mr. Freeze's dad, you know, from World War II, and who was a Nazi criminal basically, and they just took hey, you know what, you're gonna make stuff for us to help save people, and it was just that was such a secret that. You know, revealing that Thomas Wayne was working with Nazis would destroy the Wayne legacy. And so Batman's trying to stop them. But I do like it when they broke into Bruce Wayne's house. They didn't know that they were breaking into Batman's house. They were just,
Going into that, I just want to say one of the things, and artist-wise, that they did a lot was when they showed Napier or Batman, that scene where he's getting ready to go in on them, you see Bruce Wayne, but the shadow is Batman. And they did that again with Napier. Like, the shadow was the Joker's shadow. That they did a lot, which was really cool visually.
Okay.
You didn't catch that, did you?
Well, no, that's
by Murphy.
Yeah, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about when they broke into Bruce Wayne's house and they didn't know it was Batman's house, and Bruce Wayne, like, he was in the Batcave and you could see like his gauntlets on while he's like typing on the computer, and he could hear something going on, and so he's almost in his Batman uniform, like in the hallway. You could see them. They discovered the secret room that Bruce Wayne didn't even know about because it was so old in his mansion, and then like you think he's gonna go stop them, all of a sudden he just goes in as Bruce Wayne is like, "Oh geez, what are you guys doing in here? Get out of here, you hooligans!" And it's just like funny to see like Batman like be Bruce Wayne, you know what I mean?
In the pink robe.
Yeah, in the pink robe. It's like, "What are you doing? Get out!" And then they all like they run out of his house, and then that's when Nightwing shows up as part of the GTO. That's GTO, right? That's what they're
GTO.
The GTO, and they're like, "Hey, did they break into the Batcave?" I mean, he's just like, "Well, which way did they go?" And like, "Over there." And then like after all the cops go chasing him, he goes back into Batman mode and he gets in the Batmobile and he chases them down. And that's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah. So their GTO is doing a good job. They're knocking out the bad guys. They're stopping it. It looks like they're about to win against all the rogues and Neo Joker. But then Batman comes in, starts smashing cars left and right, ends up causing the bridge to like collapse. It was a bridge, right?
Yeah, he knocked their car off the road. The car went into a boat that was passing by, and then that ended up. So it was the constant collateral damage.
Yeah.
That was fucking shit up.
And she escaped. Neo Joker escaped, so he causes it. And this is when Gordon says, "Enough."
Yeah.
There's an APB for Batman. I want him.
And this is how I like how they caught Batman. They're like, "No, wait, this wasn't it." They were gonna use an EMP to take out his Batmobile
Because of Nightwing.
Yeah,
They go to
Nightwing. He gave up that information, but they needed something else that would not also be harmed by the EMP. He's like, "I got the right thing," and they busted out the Batmobile from the the movie,
like,
the
"I
first
can
movie.
steal something."
I can steal something, and then it was cool seeing like Gordon in the old Batmobile chasing the new Batman in the new Batmobile. That was like just visually, I was looking at it. I'm like, that would be so fucking cool to see in a movie. Is just seeing Gordon chase Batman in like two different Batmobiles. It was just awesome.
Well, what was cool about this scene, so before they actually engage in the plan to stop Batman, so this is the conversation where they're talking to Nightwing. And Nightwing, that said he's had enough. And he says, like, "Okay, I'll do it, but the only condition of the deal is the mask stays on."
Yeah, that's right. He says,
He keeps his suit on. And then the only one that's defending Batman against them is actually Gordon's daughter, Batgirl.
Yeah.
And she says, like, after everything he did for you, like,
Yeah.
he took you in, like, you owe his life to him, and this is what you're doing to him.
Yeah.
And she did not want any part of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that's when they go in to initiate the plan.
Just so much conflict. It's like fucking Game of Thrones.
But it was cool. So it's like, Gordon's chasing them.
Yeah.
They go through the warehouse. They
Blow up the EMP
yeah,
bomb.
they do the EMP. Also, kind of blinds Batman.
And that's something that confused me, because when they showed Gordon, he was wearing a blindfold. I'm like, why is this motherfucker blindfolding, driving the Batmobile, and he's like concerned about Batman causing damage?
Yeah.
You literally have one of the most dangerous vehicles in the city, and you're driving it blindfolded.
Yeah. But he does that, and he ends up actually like sideswiping Batman, causing him to crash. Batman is hurt. And then we had seen in the previous scene that Napier has been training vigorously with Harley because he wants to fight Batman.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. So he's taken the city from Batman. He's now taken like Nightwing and Batgirl from Batman. He's taken Gordon.
Yeah.
The only thing he hasn't done is defeated him in a fight.
Because after Gordon crashed into him, Batman gets away, and then that's when Napier finds him, and Napier beats him up. And it was fucking crazy just seeing him, Batman
Batman
beat
was
him.
hurt.
Batman was hurt from the crash. Yeah, definitely. He didn't have the whole one up on him. He was hurt from the crash, and then Napier fought him, and he defeated. Like, just seeing Batman laying on the ground, bloody, just defeated with the Joker standing. I mean, even though it was Napier, but just to see that character standing over him, and just seeing him carrying Batman on his shoulders, and even then, he was still defending Batman. He's like, "Don't take off his mask. Do not take off his mask."
He also said, like, after he beats him down, defeats him, he's like, "What have I done?"
Yeah, that's how you knew that he was like he really was a good guy deep down, and like he felt so bad defeating Batman. That was a crazy visual right there.
Yeah, I think during that entire sequence, he did say something about fanboying too.
Yeah,
right, like being a big fan.
Yeah,
yeah.
And well, I think he mentioned that a little bit in that opening chase while he was the Joker going to go get the pills. He mentioned that a lot too.
And this is the point where it catches up to the beginning, where what the story opened up is Batman's arrested.
Yeah.
At this point, they put him in Arkham.
Yeah, and now is when Neo Joker, the other Harley, she basically is able to get Dr. Freeze's father's big giant freeze cannon, and she freezes the city with a sign on the buildings that says "I want Joker" or something like that.
Yeah.
To meet me there, and so now the Joker now Napier knows what to do, and he's trying to get Batman to help him.
Well, what was cool in this scene is, so they're in the GCPD, and Napier's talking with them, and this is where we start finding out that the meds are starting to lose their effect. So he has to take them continuously, but his body's building a tolerance.
Yeah.
Which is why in earlier panels you see him taking more and more.
Yeah, that's right.
So in the middle of this scene, he's Napier, and then he switches to the Joker, and all the cops put their guns up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then
we give her what she wants.
Yeah.
And
then he switches back to Napier, and it's like, oh crap! So like now he's battling like. The meds aren't working as well.
He went full La Llorona on that. I'm the Joker again.
But like that was cool on that aspect. But yeah, you're right. He ends up deciding, and this is after a talk with Harley. Harley, it was the voice of reason here, both with Batman and with him. And after talking with Harley, he realizes that he needs to do what the Joker wouldn't do. And that is get Batman's help.
Yeah, that's right. Because he has to figure out how to defeat Neo Joker, and she would never expect the Joker teaming up with Batman to take her down.
And this is where we solidify more that Napier is actually a good guy, because Batman has a condition.
Yeah.
Batman knew he was going to come.
Yeah.
And he even says Harley sent you, didn't she?
Yeah, that was great. Batman knows everything.
Yeah. But this is where he solidifies that he's a good guy, because Batman's condition is, I'll go and I'll do it and I'll help you. But at the end of this, you need to admit to the crimes, the laws that you broke in order to accomplish what you did in Napier, because he did use the rogues. He did lie about what the GCPD was doing. So he bended the law a little bit. And Napier says, okay.
Yeah. And there was also another request, too. He also wanted to know what happened to Jason Todd.
Yes.
And because earlier in the comic, they went through and they described that Napier doesn't know everything that the Joker knew. Like, the Joker was keeping information from Napier, so there's parts of his memories that he couldn't access.
But Napier had a condition, too. His condition was he'd team up with Batman, he'll do the confession or anything like that, but nothing falls back on Harley. So they both had their own conditions that they needed to follow.
It's like buying a car. It's like negotiating different terms.
While the whole city's frozen and people are probably dying. They're haggling in Arkham.
But I like the plan of this, because like how they're gonna get back at Harley. They were using all these like deep underground tunnels in Gotham that nobody knew about, that which tied back into Thomas Wayne and work with Mr. Freeze's dad. And they were gonna flood these tunnels with all the Batmobiles that they had. They're like Batman. They were just like, no, we're not using your GPD Batmobiles. We're using my Batmobiles. And it was cool to see all the Batmobiles. You were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Like that's what I liked about this. They chose chose to acknowledge, even though it was his own story, they chose to acknowledge all of your favorite things about the Batman franchise and everything. It was really cool to see all the people driving the Tumbler, the 60s Batmobile, you know, the Tim Burton Batmobile.
The animated series Batmobile.
Yeah, that was cool to see that one. And but by the way, while we're talking about the Batmobiles, I got to say, I really loved the Batmobile design for this comic. That was really cool.
Oh, yes, the main one he was using.
The main one. I like it how it was just like, it didn't even have a hood. It's just like the front axle extended out. And it was almost like a speedboat kind of, you know? It was really cool. I like this Batmobile design, but too bad it got blown up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're racing through these underground tunnels. They're trying to get to Harley because she has a lot of the villains still under mind control, right?
Yeah, all of them pretty much.
They said it was too much mind power to control all the villains. So what they did was they just controlled Clayface, and then they broke him down into dust and fed it to all the supervillains as like a drink. And so that's how they're able to control all the villains.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joker, as Napier first went to them early on and made it as a social call. They give them the whole speech they've tried to do, like, we need to work together while they're all sharing drinks. And then, of course, they were all like, no, we're not gonna do it. Which, kind of on topic, but we're talking about them including like old stuff, like little Easter eggs. An Easter egg from that one is there's an animated series episode where it's like all of the bad guys at a table. I think they were playing cards, and they're all talking about the moment where they almost killed Batman. And it gets to Croc, and he was like, I threw a rock at him. And they all look at him. He was like, it was a big rock. So it is when it goes to that meeting, you see random conversation bubbles from them, and you see from Croc, it was a big rock.
Yeah.
And that's a little thing.
But because they made the comment, like, every time we get together and we do this, it always comes down to a who almost got him better type aspect of it.
So they deny him, and then that's when he activates Clayface with the Mad Hatter, and it turns out that everything they've been drinking included Clayface in it, so they ingested Clayface.
Yeah.
So by controlling Clayface, they controlled them because Clayface was in them.
Yeah.
All that was left of Clayface was just like the brain and the eyes and all
But
of
that
that.
shit wouldn't even make sense though, because if they ingested Clayface in like that doesn't control their mind. It just might give them indigestion. Like maybe it just gave them kidney stones. They wouldn't really put them under mind control, but whatever. I understood what they were doing. But anyway, so yeah, they're all, everybody has their own Batmobile. They're all trying to get Neo Joker, and because she's using Mr. Freeze's technology, they have to go get Mr. Freeze to come help out, and that brings me to one of my favorite parts is when Mr. Freeze finally joins them, and he busts out right on top of like the main cannon, because that's where neo-Nazis.
Neo Joker.
Neo Joker. We talked about Nazis too, but Neo Joker's there, and this is a callback because we were talking about the Joel Schumacher Batman movie with Arnold, and like how bad all of his freeze in hell Batman. It was so funny when he gets up and he's got the gun and he's pointed at her. He's like, "Sorry, I'm all out of freeze puns." And I was just like, oh my God, they acknowledged it.
Yes.
They acknowledged it. But anyway. So, yeah. So at this part, I mean, it was a lot of action. So how did that final battle go down again? I forget exactly.
I mean, they end up knocking the mind control helmet off of her. It ends up shattering.
Yeah.
In there. So then that releases all of the rogues. So now she lost her army.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a chase where Napier and Harley are chasing Neo Joker.
No. So Napier Napier is now the Joker. He kind of lost control. Yeah. Joker's around there. Joker punched Neo Joker, which caused her to lose control of the rogues, which brought back Clayface. So as Joker is going after Neo Joker, Clayface comes in, remembers what Napier did to him to control all the other rogues. So Clayface starts attacking Joker,
who's in the Batmobile with Harley.
Yeah. So Harley number one, ends up grabbing the Joker. They start trying to get out of there away from Clayface. Then Neo Joker and Mad Hatter are on the rocket, and Neo Joker's trying to get Joker to go over with her because they're about to run into a wall.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's like a little like bottleneck type of thing where only the rocket could get through and not the Batmobile. It's like, we only got room for one more.
Yeah.
Come on, Joker.
Yeah, so they weren't chasing Neo Joker. Neo Joker was trying to save Joker.
From Clayface. I forgot Clayface
Yeah.
came back. He was just like, what the fuck, Napier? It's so funny because he was able, did Clayface call him Napier or Joker?
Joker.
Okay, I thought he was like, he was so mad he actually was able to distinguish which personality he was mad at.
But this is where like the Joker he releases basically the car. He splits it up, releases allowing Harley to go through the crack, and he crashes in. Big explosion. He ends up surviving, but then that's when you have Harley chasing.
Yeah, then Harley's chasing Neo Joker.
Defeats her, beats her up, kicks her ass. In there
is ready to kill her until they find out over the radio that Jack is still alive.
Which was big because like that would have been a point of no return for Harley. Because if she would have killed her, then now she's also a criminal.
Yeah, that's they were hinting that she was gonna kill her because she pulled the knife out and she was cutting her.
Yeah,
and you thought I was thinking that I'm like, oh man, don't kill her because then like you're just gonna almost undo all of the Napier's thoughts on you. You know what I mean? Like, don't be that. And then you just see her roll up with her tied to the back of the bike or the rocket or whatever. And it's just like, oh, she didn't kill her.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, Harley.
It was because she found out Napier had survived.
Yeah.
So then Napier keeps his word.
Yeah.
He confesses to everything, so he gets arrested. He has one more request, and his request was he wanted to marry Harley before he turns into the Joker, because he wanted to marry her as Napier, not as the Joker.
Oh yeah, they were doing that on his way into his brand new cell.
Yeah,
because he had already delivered his confession, and while they're walking in the cell, he's like, "Can you marry us?" And I thought Batman was like, "I'll do it." I thought he was gonna say that. It's like they're like, "Get a priest," and Batman's like, "Well, I'm
preordained.
I'm preordained. Let me do it." But it's so funny that Batman was still there as a witness. Like he was just there watching the Joker get married.
He didn't even wear a suit.
He wore a suit, just not the right suit.
On a serious note, though, what this got me thinking is, so Napier did a lot of good. He did a lot of good, and he helped save the city. But he admitted that he bent the rules here and there. He didn't get anyone hurt, but he did break the law to do this stuff, and that's why he was getting arrested. But he did it for the better of the city. But then if you think about it, isn't that what Batman does?
Yeah.
Batman breaks a ton of rules,
Oh,
beyond just traffic rules. But but he breaks a ton of rules.
You can't drive on a roof.
Yeah. He breaks a ton of rules, a bunch of laws in order to secure the safety of the town.
Yeah.
Napier did the exact same thing, but then Batman wants him to go to jail for doing that. And doing exactly what he does on a consistent basis.
And also, we forgot to mention that the Joker did reveal what happened to Jason Todd. Is that the whole day he was just trying to get Jason Todd to tell him who Batman's identity, and he goes, "All right, well, you're not going to tell me. What are your final words?" And Jason Todd just goes, "I wish I never met Bruce Wayne." And it's just like, oh shit! And then he revealed that he just let him go, and Bruce is just like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Why didn't he come back?" He's just like, "Because you destroyed him too." I mean, like he just look what you did to him, teaching him all this stuff.
Yeah, it was something. What was it exactly? Along the lines of, I wanted you to live with the fact that somebody wanted you to think that they were dead rather than go back to you because you destroyed them.
Yeah, that's why
crazy.
That's why he let him go, because that was better for him than having him dead. Is one day Batman finding out that he pretended to stay dead just to not be near him.
That's fucking so crazy, man. I love comic books because they can get so deep, but you wouldn't. I mean, a lot of people just be like, "Oh, comic books aren't deep." You know what I mean? But this is. It brings a lot of good questions.
And that was the good thing about it, is like so this comic, it raised a lot of questions that people don't ask about Batman. So there was the hypocrisy of the law breaking, and there was the other one. So it's like Batman, he doesn't kill and he arrests, and it's under the thing that they can be reformed. That's why he brings them to Arkham so that they can get reformed. But then here you had Napier, who was reformed and was doing good, but Batman refused to believe it.
Yeah.
So does Batman really want and think that they will reform, or is just what he's saying?
Well, I don't think. I mean, did they mention Batman's specific purpose is he wants people to be reformed, or is he just wants the bad people just to go to prison?
No, that's just Batman in general. He doesn't kill. He brings them to Arkham, and he generally, his thought process is not gonna kill them. Bring them in.
Yeah.
They can be better.
Either way, there's just a hypocrisy and there's a double standard to Batman's own meanings.
Because when he was doing good, Batman refused to believe it. Like, he did whatever he took to find something wrong.
That's right. And then Batman had after all this and the Joker goes away. Oh, but also while the Joker was getting married, this is the cool part.
Napier was getting married.
Well, Napier was getting married to Harley in the cell, and he's like, "Do you Harley take Napier to be your husband?" And she's like, "I do." And he's like, "And do you take her to be your lawfully wedded wife?" And then he turns into the Joker. He's like, "I do." So she married the Joker. Yeah. Or is that like grounds for an annulment because it was a different personality?
Well, she said "I do" to Napier.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's true.
But we get two more just big moments. Batman ends up meeting up with Harley, and then we find out the whole time this was all part. She was the mastermind.
She was the White Knight. That's what he says. You were the White Knight. It was a Napier.
Exactly. She's the one who created the
pills.
She's the one that orchestrated everything at the facility. She's the one that recorded and released the first video of the Joker getting beat up.
See, that's what I didn't catch at first. I saw somebody record it, but I didn't know who it was, and then I didn't even put. You just told me that was her.
Yeah, at the end is
I
when
didn't
they
even
reveal
know.
it.
I didn't notice that.
So
was
she was the one who pretty much got everything started, and then the other big event is where Batman's kind of learned from this to a certain extent, and he meets up with Gordon. Mm-hmm. Gets him the keys to all the Batmobiles so they can use it. So he's sharing his resources. And in order to instill trust, he reveals his identity to Gordon. Yeah. And it ends with him saying that he's going to reveal it to everyone else.
But he didn't reveal it to everybody else. He just revealed it to Gordon.
Right.
But he says he's going to.
But there was a big thing during that reveal, though, is Gordon's trying to stop him. Gordon doesn't want him to do it. And what Batman ends up saying was, this isn't the first time that I snapped. It's just the first time you saw me.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what the driving force of him actually doing it, even though Gordon's like trying, like, no, the city still needs you. Don't do it. Don't reveal yourself. It's like, no, I've done it before. This is just the first time I got caught.
Yeah. Fucking Batman, dude. But that was a crazy fucking comic. I fucking loved it. I appreciate you guys having me read it and talk about it because it's fun talking about this stuff. If you guys didn't have, I would never have discovered this storyline.
And the good thing about it is, unlike us who read it when it first came out, you only have to wait like 2 months before you get the sequel.
Oh yeah, when did this come out?
This came out about 2 years ago. At least it finished about a year ago, but it started like 2 years ago.
And the sequel to The White Knight comes out in July, you said?
July 24th.
July 24th is the sequel to The White Knight. Is there a title for it?
Yes, Batman Curse of the White Knight.
Batman Curse of the White Knight. Man, I wonder what they're going to do next. What do you think they're going to do next?
I mean, what I'm hoping is we get more of Jason Todd.
Yeah.
Going forward. Whether it's
They did leave that end on,
because, as we know, Jason Todd in all other stories becomes the Red Hood. Mm-hmm. But now, with the way they set it up, the hatred he has for Batman, like, it really sets up the story for the Red Hood.
Do you think that I think it could, now that you're saying that, it's making me think of, not in the same way, but like, you know how like all those kids started coming out against Michael Jackson? What if all the Robins started coming out against Batman saying, not that he touched him, but it's just like, he put me in danger. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was a young kid and he took advantage of my eagerness to get revenge on my fallen family. And he didn't try to stop me. He just encouraged me to do violence.
Yeah, they've done that a couple of times. Batman's been confronted about putting kids into the line of work that he does, and at least with Dick Grayson, one of the things that he said in, I think it was an animated series, is like, no, I did this for him so he wouldn't become me. Like, I'm helping him get justice that I never got so that he doesn't become who I am.
And he actually said that in this comic book a little bit, because he finally, Batman and Nightwing in this comic were like, they were button heads a lot.
Yeah.
And like Nightwing is just so upset with Batman, like, and Batman's so upset with him that they're butting heads. But then it's revealed that Batman just said that. It goes, I was doing all of this for you guys to live a better life. I don't want you guys just to keep on, fighting misery and just delving into this deep hole of. I want you guys to have a better city.
Yeah, I want you guys to be able to take off the mask
Yes.
and have a nice life.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Taking a little lesson from Tony Stark.
I know for me personally, going forward, there's like 3 things that I want answered. Like, one is, will there be a new, stronger formula created that can bring Napier back, or that's it? Are we stuck with Joker? The other one is like, what does Harley do now that she doesn't have Napier? And then the last one is, who becomes Batman's balance? Alfred was always his balance, the one keeping them from going off the edge. And even though it looked like Batman learned the lesson at the end, he doesn't have Alfred anymore. He doesn't have that balancing factor.
Well, I think that's the whole point of growth. I mean, like, it was actually addressed in the Superman movies with Christopher Reeves. The father becomes the son becomes the father. That type of mentality. So maybe Batman is trying to be the Alfred to Nightwing, to Dick Grayson.
That could be it.
It'd be nice to see him not need Alfred anymore, but still take what Alfred has given him and give that to somebody else.
Yeah, and it could be Gordon too, because now Gordon knows
That
who
is a
both
good
of
point.
them are.
That's a good
and
point.
Gordon's always been the one he's been that you're crossing the line, like, don't do this type of person. Even in this one, he was always, he does good, and it wasn't until like he crossed a line and took down part of the infrastructure purposely for being reckless that he was like, fuck it, like, arrest him, bring him in. He needs to be held accountable.
Yeah,
now.
it was nice seeing. It was kind of interesting seeing Gordon just snap. He's like, "That's it, Batman, you're arrested."
Yeah, I'm done with this shit. I'm
an
too
AP
old for this shit.
Yeah.
Put an APB out on Batman. Like, are you serious? You imagine being the officer told by Gordon, "Go arrest Batman." Really? Okay, me? I have to go arrest Batman.
But no, I don't think they're
Is
going to
he
be
okay with this?
Excuse me, Mr. Batman, sir?
Do you mind coming with me? You have the right to remain silent and stealthy in the shadows.
The whole time Batman's just like,
All right. Any final thoughts, Minnie?
Well, I was just going to say that I don't think the second one's going to end up being Red Hood, because he is releasing images of Azrael.
The writer of this comic book?
Yeah, the writer-artist has been releasing Azrael images, so I don't think... I mean, could be surprised, but Azrael is definitely going to be in this next one.
yeah. I mean, there can be multiple ones. I just hope they answer it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
he's
we'll
got his
see.
whole universe that he can do now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it's going to come up eventually, but probably not in the second one.
Yeah, because now Batman knows.
Yeah.
Batman's not going to leave it like that. He's going to search him out. So that's what changes from before. He can stay away from Batman because Batman thought he was dead. Now Batman knows, so he's going to look for him.
Well, damn. You know what, fellas? It was an incredible journey reading this comic book with you guys and talking about it. I want to do more, but we just don't have enough time, even though we don't have any time constraints. We're just exhausted talking about the White Knight. I really can't wait for the sequel to come out. I'm really excited. So thank you guys for listening. If you guys are listening to us on our Spotify or SoundCloud account, why don't you guys go over to our YouTube page at Too High McFly Productions, and you can see our short films, our movie reviews. We even do Game of Thrones reactions if you guys want to see some of that stuff. You can reach out to us on Twitter at 2HighMcFly Productions, also on Instagram at 2HighMcFly Productions. Say if there's a comic book that you guys, you guys want to get into or hear us talk about and discover. Why don't you make that suggestion, comment down below, or just send us a message. Until next time, I'm Kevin Lyons.
I'm Jose Ramos.
And I'm Mike Candelet.
And this was Crossover. We'll see you guys later.